Hey there, baseball fans. Nathan Rohde, Rob Allison, and Shooter Hunt here with State to the Nation for PBR Minnesota. Rob, thanks for joining us yet again, and let's start off with a 2021 draft prospect in catcher Will Rogers. He's a guy that has been on the national circuit, is well known, big-time right-handed bat, played for area code White Sox, hit a bomb there. I mean, this guy is pretty legit.
Absolutely. Really like Will Rogers. He brings a lot to the table. When you start checking boxes, you're checking quite a few with him.
Mm-hmm.
Great makeup kid, athletic, but physical at the same time. I'm not sure. I think I think everybody thinks his bat is his carrying tool. And I think the bat is really good, but I think he also directs traffic and shows a higher end ability to catch and throw, along with being able to block and receive. I just think he's really well rounded. Arizona State commit. I think they should probably be somewhat nervous, just because I think he brings a lot to the table, and definitely. At the least, I think he's like a top shelf organizational guy. But I think he actually has a chance to be a prospect and move up somebody's ladder in the future. And if he stays healthy, I think he has a chance to play baseball for a long time.
I think he was so good all summer. We almost got fatigued writing about him and putting stuff out because it was one thing after another. He kept getting Will Rogers. He was so good. And then after that fatigue, he goes into the fall, and he's bumping low 90s at the fall championships. So a good athlete, competitor. I'm excited to see him at the Super 60 and excited for his spring.
Indeed. In the 2021 class, we've got an uncommitted guy in Josh Kingery who certainly deserves some looks. Rob, you say he's a true two-way guy, left-hander and outfielder up to 90. And he's got those big league bloodlines, too, as his dad was Mike Kingery, who played 9 years in the big leagues.
Yeah, he's a really interesting prospect. He goes to a high school outside of St. Cloud, Minnesota. I think the high school actually goes by letters because there's so many towns that compile the actual school district that you'd run out of character space. Small high school. Dad had a significant, MLB career. Upper 80s, touching 90 on the mound from the left side. Really competitive. Can swing it as well. Has never really been on any significant travel teams. Hasn't been on the national circuit. He's a throwback Minnesota kid. I guess you quote unquote, he's a farm type kid, kind of out in the weeds, just goes out and plays baseball every day. And, still uncommitted, uncommitted. I know he's had a lot of people kind of poking around at him, weighing his options, seeing ultimately what he wants to do. I think he has some endeavors or is interested in what happens with the draft. I'm not sure if that ultimately is in the cards with the minimal track record in front of a lot of eyes. But he definitely is a Division I player. He's a guy that can come in and make an impact for some good programs. And it'll be interesting to see where he ultimately lands.
Minnesota's starting to build that track record, that high upside guy that gets on campus, gets that developmental phase in there, and then explodes. So Kingery is going to be a guy who ends up somewhere and makes a program real happy.
Yeah, he sure will. So in the 22 class, we've got Logan Olsen, who was a bit of an unknown, went to a showcase and then future games, and then all of a sudden, Rob, he's committed to Oregon.
Yeah, I mean, that's the Logan Olsens of the world is what makes our job enjoyable. Is, some guys, you hear about them a lot, you consistently see them. It's fun to find those guys out in the weeds that no one knows about, that even for us, we didn't know anything about Logan Olsen. He showed up at his club team was playing, I believe, at Creekside or maybe down at Lake Point this summer. He got up on the mound, threw really well, got identified by one of our counterparts. We jumped on him, had him come to the next event, threw really well. actually, the story is when he came off the mound, I had him come over to talk to me, and I invited him on the spot to the future games.
Ooh.
That's how impressed I was with his bullpen. And that was like 14 days before the future games. So, I mean, it was at the 11th hour.
Yeah.
And so he jumps on board. He throws really good again at the Midwest pod of the future games.
Mm-hmm.
People see him on the pod. People see him on the live streams. They see the video. They see what he can do. And 2 weeks later, he's committed to Oregon.
Yeah, and add to that the metrics that he's pumping out there. Love the frame, projects. We just put out new 22 rankings. Kind of wrote him up with a guy to follow. I think there's helium potential. I would even say we're low on him nationally in our rankings right now. I'd expect it to continue to explode. The frame's going to fill out. He's going to get more strength in that lower half. The velo is going to continue to tick up. There was a lot of strikes, 3-pitch mix. It's easy to see why Oregon was all in pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm. And another future games arm for you, Rob, was Isaac Morton, a right-hander in the 2023 class. Sounds like that arm's pretty live, and he's got a little bit of ability to spin the ball too.
Yeah, he's a live-bodied kid. His arm is bordering on electric. I think it's going to be really good. He, typical younger guy. He's a two-way guy now. He's in the inopportune situation. He tries to catch and pitch. Mm-hmm. I think the bat lags behind where everything else is up to this point. I do think you need to keep the bat in guys' hands as long as possible to kind of see how it develops and transforms. But you get him on the mound, you just see how the arm works, the life, just how it comes out and what he brings to the table. And again, he's a baby-faced kid. He looks like he's about 12 years old. Once he matures and puts on a little strength, and as long as he stays healthy, arm-wise, he's really exciting as we move forward.
More arms coming out of Minnesota. Here we go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we've got one more out of the 24 class in Chase Gastner. That his arm works out front, and he's physical for his age, but sounds like he's got some room to still fill out too.
Yeah, he's a bigger, stronger kid for a 2024. Has pretty good ability as a position player. I think he's a little heavier footed. But I think a lot of that will sort it out as he just matures and continues to develop. He'll start moving around a little easier. Mm-hmm. But you get him on the mound and it's really kind of eye-catching. The arm works well. He's pretty sound mechanically for his age. Rochester kid, so he's a little out of the limelight. He's not from the big Twin Cities where a lot of people see him. But I mean, he showed up to one of our smaller ID events in the summer, and after like 2 pitches, I mean, he's a guy you immediately circle. Mm-hmm. And now I don't know what his upside is. I'm not gonna like overly dream on 14-year-olds in high school, but he's definitely a kid you circle and you lock him in as any opportunity I get. I'm going to continue to see this kid and follow him. Mm-hmm. Because I think ultimately it's has a chance to be pretty good.
And I think college coaches are definitely circling those names. I can remember Rob coming to the first event in Vadnais Heights, that preseason, seeing the Max Carlsons, the Matt Horvaths, the Drew Gilberts, Will Frisches, just going to explode to the point now where college coaches are keyed in on the preseason events in Minnesota because there's going to be some arms, there's going to be some dudes popping out of this. So I'm hopefully looking forward to seeing Chase Gastner this spring.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Well, there you have it, a look at some prospects out of PBR Minnesota. So thank you, Rob, for joining us. But as always, for Shooter Hunt and Rob Allison, I'm Nathan Rohde. This was State to the Nation. And until next time, we'll see you guys at the ballpark.